Hey guys, I brought home that Ford F-150 I picked up about a month or two ago with the problems with the shifting trans, and I put it in storage for a little while till I had a chance to get to it, and now I have a chance to get to it. So we're going to do a little, I guess it's for anybody in the future who's Googling this, a little how-to of what goes wrong with them and what the fix is. And it's the first time I'm doing it, and I'll take you along in the journey with me, and you can kind of see what we're doing. I'll start with what I do to begin with when I do anything like this. Is I take a get the vehicle up. How are we going to get it up? I have a lift, but take the oil pan and clean your oil pan area for the trans with some brushes and clean it up as good as you can. Get all the dirt and crap off of it, and I blow it off with an air gun. Try to get the area as clean as possible before I take anything apart. And then we go to starting the disassembly, and that would be with dropping the oil pan. All the bolts are the same, don't worry about it. Pull them all out. I usually leave one on one side and one on the other, and take all the other ones out, and then as you start to crack one of the last two, it'll drop down and the fluid will start draining out of it. To catch the fluid, what I do, especially sometimes you may end up putting the fluid back in, say if you didn't have a fix for it, you didn't find out what it is, and you don't want to put the money into buying a fluid. I take a contractor garbage bag, wrap my catch pan with that, and get a very clean material back. And if I go to use it back in it, I won't be using it on this one, but if you were, I run it through like a coffee filter or a paint filter just to make sure you don't have any contaminants going in it. So back to and then after I drop the pan and I get most of the fluid out, I just stick another pan under there just to catch all the crap, because it will drizzle out for a while. But as you start working in there, you start knocking dirt and bouncing stuff around, so that's why I keep that fluid clean, and then another pan underneath it. So the pan is dropped down. I found out on this one that it was never taken apart because this was laying in the pan, and I did not know what it was, but the dealer was nice enough to tell me that he says this is called a knockout plug. I guess they stick this inside the transmission for when they're shipping the vehicle, and when it's time for them to use it, they take the dipstick and they push down, and this pops out and lays in the pan. So this vehicle's never been apart. If you see that in there, yours has never been apart. Your trans has never been serviced. This actually has 228,000 miles on it too. So, all right. After the pan is down, you can grab the filter. The filter is just pressure held in there. That is the top where it goes into the valve body. That hole with that O-ring. You just kind of grab the whole filter and it'll just pop right down for you. And it just kind of rests on the pan. You can see where it touches. After that is out, there you'll see this bridge going across, and this is the I guess you call it a bus bar for all the relays, the electrical relays that are underneath. You actually kind of see the plugs that are on it, and those are in 4 different places. I just got a screwdriver as close as I could to each plug and just kind of pulled down and rocked it a little bit because it feels like it's kind of brittle. Didn't break, but I don't want to neither. There's little clips on it, little detents, but I don't think you need to squeeze those detents to get it out. I think it'll just pull right down. So that's off and that's off. Let's go underneath and see what we got. See where the magic's happening. Try not to grunt laying on the floor. Being an old man. Okay. Underneath. You can kind of still see that she's dripping away. What I did was I looked at the layout of the valve body screws, and I marked them on a cardboard box over there with a marker, kind of do a little drawing of it. And after I had it all laid out, I just took a drill bit, probably like a 1/4 inch drill bit, and punched all the holes where I marked it. And then each screw that I take out, I put one at a time in its location. And if they have a bracket, one of them's a detent for the shifter, and the other one I forget off the top of my head, but that way they stay with the correct screw and all the hardware is in the right location. If you'll notice, there's a bunch of holes that aren't filled in. There's like small screws and there's large screw heads. These small ones are the ones you need to remove. The large ones are for splitting the valve body. So I ended up not having to take those apart. So after I took all the screws out, again, more fluid's gonna piss out. So as I said, there's another pan laying under here. And I'll back up a second. There's the solenoids right here, the electrical solenoids. They're held in with 2 screws, and there's 3 solenoids that will pop right out of there. And got the screws with those. And then there's your valve body. It came straight down. There's a gasket over the top of it. And if you'll notice on there, you can see that there's a pile of clipping, pile of pieces from the retaining ring for the overdrive solenoid, overdrive servo. And that's where the failure is. Those pieces, that ring starts breaking apart, and I think it stops the servo from moving to lock up the band. Basically, you got like a hydraulic cylinder that's moving up and down. Then the clip broke on the bottom, so now the cylinder can't drop down all the way. I believe that's the case, so it doesn't lock up. I also think that it may allow a piece of clip to go somewhere into the valve body. We're going to look around on that and see what we can find, and see if that is the case on this one. So, having said that, I don't want to get the camera underneath there because it's still dripping fluid out. But if you can see that that snap ring is missing about 2 inches out of it, something like that right there. That's where the repair is. So it's getting late in the day today. I'm gonna let it sit and kind of drip and bleed for the rest of the day. But I believe what I'm going to do, there's a big spring underneath here, and that's under a preload, so you have to get that clip out of there. Unfortunately, you can't grab it with the pliers anymore because it's broken away. So I am going to take probably a piece of pipe that looks like it's roughly 2.5 inches diameter. I'll probably get a piece of pipe about a 1 inch or 1.5 inch diameter, and I'll put it right on here. I'll take a little floor jack or a bottle jack, and I'll push the cylinder up maybe about 3/8 of an inch to give me clearance to get that snap ring out. So that's where we are. That is the failure of this one, judging by the pieces that are broken down inside of it. There's really fairly straightforward if you just take your time and be clean. That's the most important thing when you're working with this stuff. And I'll do a video on the reassembly of it and see how we make out as far as putting her back together and see if we get overdrive back. But it's looking hopeful because we found some broken things. I actually took that apart about a half hour ago and it's still dripping. And I went and I ran and I picked up the clip. This is what the retaining ring looks like. That's the actual one. You can see the little catches on there to kind of go pull it in, so there'll be no problem putting that on. What I would suggest doing is so that you don't lose the preload on that servo underneath there where this clip goes, put this on the piece of pipe that you're going to jack it up with first, then have that pipe jack push it up. You'll be able to take the O-ring off. The O-ring's fairly large. It's probably got, as I said, a 1.5 inch gap, so you'll be able to take that right off the piece of pipe. You already have this one laying down below it. You'll be able to slide this one up and lock it back into place and re-let the servo back down again. Part number is right there. I'll read it to you. It's F2VY7384B. That's the piece that you need. It's $2.71, and the repair is cheaper than a gallon of gas. Alright guys, I got the RD with a new battery in it, and she starts on the first kick and purrs like a kitten, and it's calling me to go for a ride. It's a perfect day, and so that's what I'm going to do. Take care, and see you on the next one.